Hello, my little sunsets and golden hours. Welcome back to my dreamy little corner here. Or if it's your first time here, welcome. I hope you'll visit with me for a while. Maybe take out your own art supplies or journal, get a tasty beverage or snack, or both, and plan along with me. August reminds me of oranges and golds and yellows touching and shaping golden hour and sunset clouds, the long stretch of time in summer evenings that the sun takes to make its languid way to sunset and twilight. If it sounds like I'm trying really hard to romanticize August, it's because I am. I had a hard time thinking of what to paint for my August theme since summer is so difficult for me, and in the end decided on a bit of a mainstay for myself. Clouds, my favorite subject. And thinking about the colors that August calls to mind for me, the sunset-touched golden clouds set against a dusky twilight seemed like the perfect fit. This month I decided to use some acrylic gouache as an underpainting to protect the page from bleeding through it all, and I haven't actually had much of an issue with that in these notebook therapy notebooks, but just in case. I had noticed in my sketchbook that I went a little too wet with the paint and it did bleed through the pages, which, to be fair, is not the sketchbook's fault. It's not advertised as being for wet media, but I did ruin a couple of pages recently, so I decided not to chance it. So after I put down the initial underpainting of the orange and yellow, and then put in some quick shadows with the purple acrylic gouache, I broke out the regular gouache and I started to block in some of the purpley periwinkle shadows and the cloud shapes. And I actually struggled quite a bit with this one, so I'm actually really glad that I used the acrylic gouache underpainting. I ended up layering on so much paint that I might have made quite a mess. I did try to cut out most of it because it's not very interesting to watch, but I did end up using quite a few layers of paint, which you will probably be able to see when we get to the end of the video and you see the texture on the clouds in the final shots. So if you do get that far, leave me a comment letting me know that you did see what I mean. From there, I started to map in some of the sky, and I do really love this combination of the dusky periwinkle and the very warm orangey yellow. It feels very summer evening, summer sunset, sort of golden hour leading into twilight. And then from there I started to pick out some of the lighter parts with the lighter grayed out purples, and really keying into those variations of gray is I think why I struggled so much with this one. However, while I was editing, I did notice that there were a few points in here where I could have just stopped and the painting would have come out just fine. I guess it just goes to show you that you should take more steps away from your paintings to come back at them with fresh eyes before just layering on more paint to correct something that maybe doesn't actually need to be corrected. And by you, I mean me, of course, but also I do mean you if you are in the habit of doing the same. And as I layer on yet more peachy colors, that actually was the end of painting for that day, and I did actually take my advice from the future and stepped away from my painting for a little bit. Before I sat down to paint again the next day, I had taken a damp brush and just sort of blended everything together, sort of swirling things and making them look a little more soft and blurred and fluffy, as you can see here. And of course, I am painting on top of it again, which will make it look significantly less blended and fluffy. But adding these peaches and golden yellows and such over the top of the blurred, fluffy clouds made the edges stand out more, and I really wanted to make sure that the clouds really looked golden and glowing, and it took quite a while longer until I was adequately satisfied with how this looked, so I will let you enjoy some beautiful music while past me continues to struggle. And finally, here we are at the end of the painting of the clouds. I'm still not totally satisfied with it, but it is just a little painting for myself in my journal, so it's okay that it's not perfect. I have not given up on being in my Art Nouveau era, of course. I still wanted an Art Nouveau styled frame around this painting, even though otherwise it's not a very Art Nouveau piece. And of course I had sketched it all out already, and I'm using the same set of watercolors as I did last month, but with more of an emphasis on the coppery rosy golds and less of the silvery white gold. None of the shades in the palette are particularly yellowish gold, or else I would probably have used that as well. is the quote page, which I started originally because I wasn't sure how else to use the space opposite the cover page, but now I just enjoy finding a quote that is evocative of the month in general, or the theme that I picked, or just some poetically arranged words that mention the month or evoke a feeling. And I did use some more of the sparkly watercolors for the lettering. This month I used a quote from Rachel Carson, which reads, "Help me search for a fairy cave on an August moon." And now come out the stickers! I did find some fairies to go with the quote, of course, and then after that I picked out some markers and pens in these gentle sunset colors to carry over the color scheme onto my planning pages. And next we have my usual setup for the beginning of the month. Very minimal, just a calendar, my weekly blocks for any plans or appointments, as long as I remember to write them down, and the first everythings and nothings page of the month, which is just what I call my brain dump page. I also have my monthly intentions and a place to write down a thematic word of the month for myself. I could not believe how close the color of this jelly roll pen was to the color of the sky in my painting. And here I'm just going through some old sticker books for some stickers that match the theme and the color scheme. I don't use these ones very much. And these ended up being the stars of the show sticker-wise. These beautiful sky and cloud stickers. They were just so perfect for this setup. I also got a couple of little fairies too, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's one in the corner that looks like a little fairy going into the cave, just like in the quote. Right there. And here is the finished result of my gilded summer sunset cloud theme with the cover pages and the initial setup for August. And here they are again, this time in the sunshine. I wanted to make sure I could capture the sparkles and shimmer from the watercolors and the jelly pens and the stickers, just so you could see how pretty they actually are. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. I really hope this could be a little moment of calm or inspiration in your day, whether you picked up your own art supplies to create along with me, or if you just needed the background noise. And if you did enjoy this video, I would be thrilled if you left a like or a comment, or if you subscribed so that I might see you again soon. Thank you again for being here with me, and as always, have courage, be kind, and always look for the light. Bye!